So, what do we think about Battlefield 2042? After reading through countless Twitter posts, browsing Reddit and watching a fair bit of content on YouTube, it seems to me that the majority of people are quite underwhelmed and fairly disappointed. Some players are having fun and others put the game down immediately. As usual with a Battlefield game, there's a wide spectrum of opinions, but from what I've seen, looking at the reviews that actually matter, it seems to me as if 2042 is, well, not a good game at all. A few creators have already moved away from Battlefield, whilst others have found quite a bit of a boost in viewers. As I said, there's quite a wide spectrum of opinion following this game. This video is basically going to be me giving my opinion of the game and then going into a bit of detail with what I'm planning to do with the channel into the future. For me, the game is missing so many basic features and just feels unfinished. Maps are badly designed, the spawn system sucks, vehicles are completely unbalanced, the gunplay is terrible, the servers are lagging, hit reg is inconsistent. The specialist system was an awful idea that we could tell from the start was not going to work, and any true Battlefield fan would have told you that when we played it in the beta. The voice lines are the worst in the franchise, switching your loadout on the go is a terrible idea that just doesn't work. Not one of my close friends enjoys Battlefield 2042. A few of them play it now and again, they're trying to hit clips or level up or whatever it is they're trying to do because they're massive Battlefield fans. But from what I can tell, not one of them consider it to be a good game, and most of my friends that stuck around through Battlefield 5 have now moved on to other franchises completely. Battlefield is not one that they really want to go back to at all. Most of them refunded if they could after seeing the condition of the beta. Many of them didn't pre-order or buy it in the first place. A few more things that I don't like about the game. The end screen is awful. The fact it's trying to be like Call of Duty is just ridiculous. Can they not come up with their own ideas over at DICE? It just looks like to me that they wanted to sell skins and didn't really care to pay any attention to the impact that approach would have on the gameplay experience. The design of some of the game modes is quite hilarious, to be honest. There's one mode where there's an objective on top of a skyscraper and you can just stand on top of the skyscraper and call in vehicles, sit on the top of it and just shoot everyone off. Come on, anyone designing a game would have thought of that within 5 minutes if they'd had the time to test it and the resources to test it. Clearly some of the people at DICE designing these games either don't know what they're doing or more than likely don't have the time, experience, resources, all of the other things you require in any job where you're trying to create something complicated and they're being rushed to do things and they're just coming up with stuff that just isn't up to par and up to the usual standard. I know they will change that stuff over time with Battlefield 2042 like they've done with all the other Battlefield games, BF4 being the prime example of a game that released in a terrible state but was fixed over time, but all of it bundled together just smacks of a game that needed at least another year being developed. Battlefield 1 is 5 years old at this point, and looking at the game visually, BF1's just miles better. It's more immersive, it's more impressive, the game looks like it's complete, and everything that you experience in the game is really, really detailed. I'm sure somebody at DICE will produce some explanation as to why 2042 is more technically advanced and throw in some meaningless buzzwords, but in the cold light of day, as you sit down and you play Battlefield 2042, it's just not a good looking game. It's a barren landscape, it's glitchy, it's a bit of a mess, it's missing so many features. I'd say that World War III, remember that game that was supposed to come out and be a Battlefield killer but was nowhere near it, that's actually just been re-released as they've done a load of work to it, and I'd say that game is probably on par with 2042, showing you how far Battlefield has fallen. Also a bit to, you know, how much they've done over at Farm 51 with World War III, but it's just nowhere near the level that we expect from DICE. I was watching a video by It's a Gundam and he said this: people come to Battlefield games to play Battlefield, not to play Call of Duty. I think that's probably the best way to describe 2042. You're going to play 2042 because you want to play Battlefield. That's why people are saying Portal's the best thing. Probably not because it's actually an amazing experience, it's just because it's more of a Battlefield experience than the All-Out War or Hazard Zone. People want to play Battlefield. They want Battlefield 3 and 4 and potentially Battlefield 1, maybe even Battlefield 5. That's what they want. They don't want whatever the hell DICE have tried to create here. Overall, I think it's safe to say that 2042 isn't the game we all hoped for, and whilst DICE might try to fix the mess that they've made, the task is absolutely monumental. Battlefield 2042 needed another year in development in my opinion, but even with that time, I don't think it's a game that I'd personally like to play. Portal is the exception to the rule, but that's just because it allows you to play the classic modes that the franchise has been built on. DICE's obsession with reinventing the wheel and thinking they know better than the people that came before them will ultimately be their downfall, and I can already sense that those responsible might find themselves replaced before long. 2042 had so much potential, but right now it's a bit of a mess. The question I'll ask you is, what does 2042 even want to be? What sort of game? It's not a question that I know the answer to. When the trailers first released, the game felt quite gritty, the no pats, the end of the world, BF3 vibes in parts, and then you had the gameplay trailer that complemented that with some more traditional, only in Battlefield moments. The cinematic team nailed that trailer, and I could still go back and watch it to be fair, just for that rendezvous moment. Then came the beta. Seeing that tornado for the first time was pretty cool, I'll be honest, and the rocket was quite cinematic, but the performance, it was utterly terrible, and the game felt like it was in need of at least another few months just to get it into a playable state, never mind getting it to a release state. Oh well, it was a beta, surely the full release would be in better condition. DICE themselves stated it was an old build. Then the full release. Oh dear, that gritty feeling I alluded to earlier was replaced with some clown fiesta of specialists, cringy voice lines, badly balanced vehicles, crashing servers, terrible performance, and a feeling that the game had no real direction. It wasn't a game for me, not even in the slightest. This video will be my last for the foreseeable future. Battlefield 2042 isn't a game I want to play, even in the slightest. Will DICE fix it? I don't think so. They might fix some things, but honestly, there's so much missing from 2042, and just the general direction of the franchise is such a disconnect from what I wanted to see. Portal is a great idea, and I know that some people responsible for that might not even be at the company now. Maybe it's somebody who's there, just picked that up and thought, we'll run with this idea. For whatever reason though, it's been quite poorly executed. Hazard Zone was a complete waste of time, as we could all tell from the beginning, and the All Out War experience appears to be more of a vehicle farming simulator with no real replayability, and a complete departure from what I loved so much about the franchise. So many missing features, ranging from the very basic scoreboard to the more complex but equally important class system. Patches, as I said, will improve the game, but judging by these initial reviews, DICE have left themselves such a huge mountain to climb. I can't help but feel sorry for those devs that just want to make a good Battlefield game. They throw everything they have at the project, they work their socks off, they do everything they can, but somebody somewhere with more power and influence than them is making these stupid decisions. It's downright ridiculous. We had the same in Battlefield 5 throughout a lot of the game, and we're seeing it again in 2042. These decisions have pushed Battlefield from being one of the most respected and popular FPS games to essentially being a laughingstock. Maybe EA makes some money with sales, maybe they sell some cosmetics. Right now that seems like the only goal. Sorry to be all doom and gloom for you in this video, but 2042 just isn't the game I want to play. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be a lot of creators making good content out there. I'm sure there'll be some people who really get on board with this game and follow it through its life cycle, but I do sense that many of them will go back to Call of Duty pretty soon. When the views dry up, they'll be back to Call of Duty. The only reason they're probably staying is because of those views, not because the game is fun. Anyway, I hope you do enjoy whatever you're playing at the minute. If it is 2042, good on you. Enjoy it, stick with it. But as I suspect with a lot of you, you've probably moved on to other games already. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me for so long. Maybe I'll be back in the future if the game does turn a corner. But for the foreseeable future, take care, and I'll catch you maybe in another video.